Morning. This is a great group. One good morning, everyone moves to their seats. Welcome to Ball State University on a beautiful autumn morning. I'm Johnny Sparks, and I'm the director of the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication. So we have a few resident historians here who may be able to correct me after the program. They may be able to verify this for me, but I believe for the first time in the history of the College of Communication, Information, and Media, the Associate Dean's faculty home is in our unit in Journalism and Strategic Communication. Dr. Weiwu Zhang joined CCIM as the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Student Relations in August. Prior to that, he was an associate professor in the College of Media and Communication at Texas Tech University, where he served as chair of the Department of Public Relations from 2016 to 2020 and assistant director of graduate studies from 2013 to 2015. He was also president of the Midwest Association for Public Opinion Research in 2010 and research chair of the Public Relations Division of the Association for Education in Journalism and Mass Communication, AEJMC, 2014 to 2016. Prior to Texas Tech, he taught at a small university in Tennessee called Austin Peay State University, where he served as director of the Communication Research Center and on my master's thesis committee in 2002. So to kick off the day today, it is my honor to introduce someone with the highest level of emotional intelligence of anyone I know. And that's why I'm proud to call him my colleague and friend and the Joel Olstein of Associate Deans, Dr. Weiwu Zhang.
Oh, thank you for the nice introduction. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the College of Communication, Information, and Media, I'd like to welcome you to the National Writing Awards ceremony of the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication. I am very proud of the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication's past and its legacy of award-winning accomplishments by faculty, staff, alumni, colleagues, students who operate as professional journalists and strategic communication experts regardless of their position or profession. The past 2.5 years of exhausting and protracted COVID-19 pandemic have demonstrated need for communication professionals such as yourselves in ways that we could not imagine. We have desperately needed your storytelling, compelling messages, meaningful stories to keep us informed about this pandemic and about how to safeguard ourselves and the loved ones during this pandemic. We're also living in an era of unprecedented division and polarization. As a society, we are so polarized that the warring camps cannot even agree on what constitutes facts. Okay? It is incumbent on us in journalism and strategic communication to bridge and minimize such polarization. Our society is inundated with misinformation and disinformation. That we must continue to do the earnest search for truth, for facts, and the fundamental task of verifying, truth-telling, fair reporting, and rigorous vetting. And it's because of you, our faculty, student staff, alumni, and colleagues, that the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication has garnered so many recognitions and accolades. Let me just highlight a sample of the student, faculty, and the staff leadership accomplishments. In 2021, student agency, McKinley Avenue Agency, won first place of Best Newspaper Ad, Best Special Event, and Best Native Advertising for college media business and advertising managers. Student newspaper, the Ball State Daily News, won the Pacemaker Award for the Associated Collegiate Press in 2019, 2020, and 2021, 3 years in a row. Student magazine, Ball Bearings Magazine, won Gold Crown Award in 2021 and 2022 for Columbia Scholastic Press Association. A new book entitled Facing Social Justice in Sports was released last month. It was edited by Dr. Adam Cuban, professor of journalism, and written by his students in his sports writing and reporting class. The book follows the lives of more than 20 athletes, coaches, and sports media professionals in different stages of their careers, from youth to collegiate to pro, and covers wide-ranging topics such as racism, gender equality, poverty, international student rights, mental health, disability, and LGBTQ challenges. On the faculty side, Dr. Gabriel Tate has been selected as a member of the board of directors for AEJMC, Association for Education in Journalism and Mass Communication, incoming chair of AEJMC's Professional Responsibility and Freedom Committee, and a fellow of the prestigious AEJMC Institute for Diverse Leadership, whose mission is to increase the number of people of color and women to serve as leaders in journalism and communication education. Last but not least, Dr. Johnny Sparks, director of the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication, has been selected as president-elect of ASJMC, Association of Schools of Journalism and Mass Communication, whose mission is to support leaders of academic programs in promoting excellence in journalism and mass communication education. On a personal note, just 2 days ago, I attended the Roche alumni networking event in Indianapolis. I met a lot of alums, but majority, about 1/3 of the alums, came from CCIN. And a majority of the CCIN attendees graduated from the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication. So it's very gratifying to see our student graduates thrive in their respective careers. They all spoke fondly about their experiences at the school. So I talked with the Jonathan Scott, 2005 journalism grad, Eli Lucas, 2022 PR grad, and Jen Dial, 2007 PR grad. It's very exciting. It's gratifying to see all success. To our students, you are the heartbeat of Ball State University. Look to those who have gone before you and just imagine what kind of a new path you can create. To our faculty, you are the heart and soul, right? You are the soul and the lifeblood of Ball State University. A special thank you for your tenacity, perseverance, and resilience in the past year. Not to just sustain your teaching, research, and service, but to thrive and innovate. To our alumni, I have some difficulty coming up with a metaphor related to heart, but here I give it a try. You are the pacemaker on positive steroids. Okay. Thank you for taking your experiences out into the real world and being our ambassador. And to our award recipients today, please accept this recognition as a sign of our appreciation for all you do. And we truly do fly, and sky is the limit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wei Wu. Now, we are moving on to the lunch So I ask that you enjoy your lunch and conversation. And then in about 20 minutes or so, I will return to the podium to start the award presentation. So thank you very much. Good afternoon once again, and again, welcome to our premier annual event, the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication Award Luncheon. Today's awards and this event were funded by a generous alumnus and member of the Journalism Hall of Fame, Gary Graham. Gary is unable to be with us today, but maybe he is watching at home, so let's offer a round of applause for Gary. I also want to say thank you to the individuals who planned this event, who spend a great deal of time and energy to make sure that it's a wonderful occasion of celebration. I want to thank Dan Wechter, Arlene Shirk, Brian Hayes, Natalie Seeley, Olivia Weinenzuffel, Brooke Kemp Himes, and Bethany Sloniker. Did I slaughter your name? Weinzaffel. Is that it? Olivia, thank you. I can usually pronounce words except when I'm at the podium. The Ball State University Journalism Alumni Society sponsors several of today's awards. Society board members, please stand and be recognized as I announce your name. Please hold your applause until all are introduced. Tom Gaeta. Hank Newer. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong list. Brian Hayes. Brian Hayes. Hank's like, oh, I didn't know I was on that one. Casey Smith. I didn't think I saw Casey. So a round of applause for our two representatives from the Alumni Society. A very important part of today's ceremony is the induction of two new members to the Hall of Fame. And we have Hall of Fame guests who are with us here today. There are currently 54 members in the Hall of Fame, and numbers 55 and 56 will join. I would like to ask the previous Hall of Fame inductees who are with us to please stand when I call your name. And again, I ask that you hold your applause until all are standing. First, David Knott. Hank Newer. Stephanie Overman. Mark Popovich, and Marilyn Weaver. Thank you for joining us in celebration of this important tradition. Today's event presents a very special opportunity to personally express our gratitude to all of you for contributing to the School of Journalism and Strategic Communications' 54-year legacy of excellence. First today, I would like to introduce Dr. Natalie Seeley, Associate Professor and Director of the National Writing Award.
Hello. Since 1960, the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication has recognized exceptional journalists with the National Writing Award. This year, we're very pleased to present this award to investigative reporter Esme DePrez with Bloomberg News. In DePrez's winning feature, Death with Dignity, How I Helped My Dad Die, she shares a deeply personal story about her father's extraordinary life, his battle with ALS, and his decision to use Maine's Death with Dignity legislation to die on his own terms. Our judges praised the piece as a moving story about an of-the-moment issue and an intimate and provocative first-person narrative full of vivid description and memories that underscore the cruelty of ALS. One judge wrote, "The story takes you deep into the heart of a family at an extraordinarily vulnerable time. The writing is passionate, evocative, and almost painfully honest. This piece surely generated important discussions in the families of those who read it." DePrez is a California-based senior reporter on the investigations team at Bloomberg News. She specializes in long-form deep dives into government policy, politics, economics, and social issues. Previously, she was a breaking news and features correspondent for Bloomberg's National Desk. Her award-winning story was also a finalist for the 2022 National Magazine Awards. She joined Bloomberg in 2009 and has since reported from 35 US states and 4 foreign countries. She has an MS in journalism from Columbia University's Graduate School and a BA in English from Boston College, and she was born and raised in Maine. The School of Journalism and Strategic Communication is so proud to honor Esme with this award. Congratulations and thank you for all you do. Her $1,500 prize money will be donated to further research on ALS. Esme, would you please come forward?
The Anton Majeri Award recognizes innovation and leadership in the profession of graphic journalism. It may be awarded to a publication staff or a person for creating a body of work or a singular piece that demonstrates innovation in news design or graphics reporting. This award is named for Anton Majeri Jr., who is now retired, but is a former senior editor for design and graphics at the Chicago Tribune. Under Majeri's leadership, the Chicago Tribune won more than 100 awards for design and graphic excellence from the Society for News Design. This year's Majeri Award winner is Chiqui Esteban. Esteban's command of visual aesthetics and design principles, teamed with his skill mastery, have propelled innovation in graphic journalism during his prolific career. Esteban, a senior graphics reporter at the Washington Post, has been recognized with over 150 international graphics awards. Before joining the Post, Esteban worked as deputy director for art, maps, and graphics at National Geographic. Previously, Esteban was a graphics director at the Boston Globe, where he contributed to the coverage of the Boston Marathon bombing that won the Pulitzer Prize. Aside from his distinguished titles and prestigious awards, Esteban says he cherishes the opportunities his career has afforded him to mentor and help others advance in the profession. Esteban brings a spirited passion to his work and aims to help his colleagues find the good fortune that he enjoys in a truly rewarding career. Esteban graduated from the Universidad de Navarra in 2002 with the Spanish equivalent to a master's degree in communication. For his accomplishments, innovation, and unwavering dedication to graphic journalism, the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication presents the Majeri Award for Graphic Journalism to Chiqui Esteban.
Hello, my name is Chiqui Esteban, and I am the graphics director at the Washington Post. I am sorry I cannot be with you all today due to family reasons. My first professional trip to the United States, when I was still living in my native Spain, was to Muncie, Indiana, as part of the jury of the S&D digital contest that was held at Ball State University. I was invited by a former professor there, Ryan Sparrow, so this is a place that for which I have a special place in my heart. I am very honored to receive this award, even more looking at the list of previous honorees. That list includes some of the people I admire the most in visual journalism, like Javier Zarracina, Alberto Cairo, Carl Guter, but every single person or organization in this list are people that I deeply admire. Visual journalism and graphics are not just a job for me, they are part of the person that I am today. When I was a kid in love with football, or soccer, how it is called here, I would sit in front of the TV with a paper and a pencil and watch complete games where I was taking notes of the positions in the field, the passes between the players, the swaps. If anyone got a yellow card, I would take a note with my pencil in my paper and save them. When I was studying history, at school, I would make timelines and org charts and try to make sense of all the things that I wanted to memorize by visualizing that content. When it was time to choose a career, I had already abandoned my childhood dream of being a zookeeper, and I knew I wanted to get into journalism. But I didn't know graphics was even an option. One day I was asking around about where to study to some friends of the family, and someone told me about a college in Pamplona, told me about the Malofieck Awards that were held there. It is one of the most important news graphics competition in the world, or it was. And when they explained me what all of those words meant, infographics, visualization, etc., that opened my eyes, and I knew I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to explain the news with graphics. During my career, my dream was to work in the graphics department of my hometown newspapers in the south of Spain, Diario de Cádiz. Some of the graphics journalists that I admired the most, and I still do, Rafa Jor and Rafa Estrada, had worked there. So it sounded like an incredible place to be. I started far from there, in European distances at least, in northwest Spain, in a place called La Voz de Galicia, where Joan González was the graphics director. They taught me the core of all that I know from graphics today. They told me how to respect the reader, how to focus on making stories understandable and not just flashy, how to use the color with purpose. But above all, he told me to be a journalist first and a visual journalist second. That showed me something for the future also, which is the value of local journalism and to have the utmost respect for those who work there. Because I haven't learned as much in the rest of my career as I did in my years there. After having worked in different Spanish outlets, including my dream to do it in my hometown newspaper, it will be 10 years this November since I moved to Boston to start working as a graphics reporter for the Boston Globe. If my dream was to work at Diario de Cádiz, coming to the Globe was beyond my wildest hopes. I need to be forever thankful to my wife Carmen and my children who left their lives that they had built in Spain to come here and support me in this adventure to cross the Atlantic Ocean. They left Spain when my daughter Lizzie was just 3 months old to arrive in Boston in January, knowing how hard that can be, just to be received by a tremendous blizzard, just to make the transition a little easier. Going back to what I was saying before, this job for me is personal. I love journalism. I love graphics. This job can be very demanding sometimes. I remember when I was a teenager, my friends would laugh at me when they were having crazy summers in the beach town that I am from, and I was an intern in that local newspaper I was telling you about, staying many days as late as midnight or 1 a.m., which was not unusual on that times in Spain in journalism. I thought then, and I still think now, that nothing could beat those summers, discovering the wonders of working in news. My parents and cousins used to tell me that they were very sorry when I told them that I couldn't attend a family reunion because some breaking news happened and I needed to attend to them. But how could I miss that, meaning the breaking news situations? Since this is a university, I just wanted to leave a couple of pieces of advice for students. The first one is that you're not going to be great at a job if you don't love it. So you either have to love what you do or you need to do what you love, but you need to care about what you do every day. When you do the tiniest chart, you need to be committed to make that the best chart that has been ever done, like you were doing a 6-month project investigation. The second one is to leave your ego aside when you go to work. In news, you work for the reader, so you have to do what is best for them, not for you. You don't need to prove your skills on every single thing that you do. You don't need to do things to score points in your organization, because that's not going to work. If you pursue the goal of doing what is best for the readers, that recognition will come. You will be able to show what you can do. Just wanted to finish with a huge thank you to the Ball State University Journalism Department for this award that means so much to me, to my family for bearing with me all this time in all my adventures, to all the mentors and colleagues that I have had in this industry, and to news and journalism for filling me with purpose all this year. Thank you very much.
You, Chiki.
Hello, my name is Chiqui Esteban.
The Indiana Journalism Award recognizes outstanding achievements in Indiana journalism. The Honorable Mary Ann Voorhees, 46th Circuit Court Judge in Delaware County, recently leveraged her judicial leadership to empower journalistic innovation in Indiana by inviting media cameras into her courtroom for the first time. A lifelong trailblazer, Voorhees was among the first women to attend Notre Dame's law school, where she served as the first female editor-in-chief of the Notre Dame Law Review and was recognized as an outstanding member of her class. In Muncie, Voorhees was the first female lawyer at her firm. She served as master commissioner before becoming the first woman to win a general election for circuit court judge after being appointed by former Indiana Governor Frank O'Bannon. This foundation of firsts provided Voorhees with a unique perspective and helped inform her enduring sense of fairness and justice. As a judge who covers a wide range of cases and specializes in civil litigations, she is an effective problem solver dedicated to creating equity in all the cases she oversees. Voorhees is also devoted to her community and has served on countless volunteer boards in Muncie. As a 1980 graduate of Ball State University's Honors College, she takes great pride in her community and advocates for initiatives that help bring the university and the city communities together. In recognition of her participation in the Indiana Supreme Court cause pilot project to broadcast court proceedings, the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication presents the Indiana Journalism Award to Judge Mary Ann Voorhees.
Thank you very much for this award. I want to kind of call on what the Associate Dean said about the importance of truth and accuracy. That's one reason I'm so passionate about the project we did and about having students in my courtroom. So much of court coverage now is just from the initial probable cause affidavit that the police officer wrote up to keep somebody in jail. It might be from a press release from a prosecutor's office. So I was so happy. I will tell you this, when I met with the students the first time and they said, "You mean we can come into the courtroom with cameras and we can take pictures and we can do video?" And I said, yes. I mean, their eyes were just so lit up because they were so excited about that opportunity. So I'm so glad they were able to participate, and I really hope that it has inspired young journalists to give court proceedings some thorough and factual coverage. So thank you so much.
The Joseph Costa Courtroom Photography Award recognizes a photographer who used their camera to document the action of the courtroom. This award is named after Joseph Costa, one of the founders of the National Press Photographers Association and former faculty member of the Department of Journalism. This year's winner is Sean Krajcik, photojournalist with the Kenosha News in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Krajcik, who is unable to join us today, was one of the few photographers in the courtroom during the November 2021 trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. He leveraged his mastery of visual storytelling to provide important perspective during a historic moment in the discussion of racial and social justice in America. For his contributions to courtroom photography, the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication was proud to present the Joseph Costa Courtroom Photography Award to Sean Krajcik. The Marilyn Weaver Scholastic Journalism Award recognizes individuals and organizations who are making outstanding contributions to scholastic journalism. This award is named after Marilyn Weaver, retired former workshops director and chairperson of the Department of Journalism at Ball State University. During her tenure, Weaver garnered numerous awards, and accolades for her staunch support of scholastic journalism. We are honored to have Marilyn with us here today. This year's winner of the Marilyn Weaver Scholastic Journalism Award is Sarah Nichols. Nichols, an Indiana University alum with a significant influence on scholastic journalism in the Hoosier State, now lives in California. She recently visited Brown County to present to the Indiana Hoosier State Press Association. At that time, a group from the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication, including Marilyn Weaver, traveled to IHSPA's August meeting and presented the award to Nichols, who is unable to join us again today. Now moving on to the Young Alumni Awards. The Young Alumni Awards recognize achievement of the School of Journalism and Strategic Communications alumni who are 35 years of age or younger. Recipients must work in a communication-related career area and must have distinguished professional qualities. This year, the Journalism Alumni Society is proud to recognize 2 recent graduates with Young Alumni Awards. The first is Grace Hollers. Grace Holler's photojournalism stands out in a cluttered media environment and demands attention. In a short time, Hollers has captured global attention with award-winning coverage of major stories as a visual journalist with the Indianapolis Star. In 2021, Hollers ranked 6th in the Sports Photographer of the Year competition through Pictures of the Year International. The Indiana News Photographers Association named Hollers the 2021 Sports Photographer of the Year on the heels of her earning runner-up for the same award in 2020. Hollers' photographs reflect her energy, passion, confidence, and sincerity. Her compassion, empathy, and kindness earn trust and naturally position her to capture the most authentic moments and stories through her lens. During her time at Ball State University, Hollers took advantage of every opportunity to hone her skills through internships, student media, and with BSU at the Games. She photographed the 2016 Olympics in Rio and the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. I could say that if I wasn't at the podium. Korea. Hollers won the 2017 College Photographer of the Year Award from the Indiana News Photographers Association for her attention-demanding photography, empathetic and tenacious character. The Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication proudly presents Grace Hollers with the 2022 Young Alumni Award.
Well, this is really cool. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. I'm not as good at speaking as Johnny is, so bear with me for a minute. I wanted to say something because when I was a senior in 2019, I photographed this very event for the journalism department, which I think is hilarious. I sat right there in that corner, and if you know any photographer, we sit on the floor. It's just a common thing. I sat over there, and I remember watching all the speakers from that year, and I kind of told myself that I wanted that to be me one day. And if you know me, you know that nobody believes in Grace Hollers more than Grace Hollers. And I would tell myself things like that all the time. I wasn't afraid to be very vocal about what I wanted in my life and with my career, and one of those is to be one of the best sports journalism in the world. I had no idea that this would come so early in my career. And when I would tell people that I want to be the best in the world, especially as a young woman professional in sports journalism, they roll their eyes at me and they call me conceited, too confident, full of myself. My ego is too big. But I don't think they realize where I went to school. I went to Ball State University, and that's a place that helps you become confident. It helps you to discover your passion and your drive and where you want to go. And they were just so naive to discredit me because I had a really amazing group of professors, peers, and relationships that helped me through this college and that helped me who I am today. I can't thank my professors enough, like Martin Smith-Rodden, Kevin Maloney. I can't thank my coworkers like Stephen Beard, who's known me since day one at the Star. I'm so grateful for this. I feel like I just feel so loved. It feels like a warm hug right now. Thank you so much, and I'll continue to make you proud. I'm only 26 years old, and my 20s are my warm-up. I can't wait to see what I'm really about to do. Thank you.
That same year, I watched Grace photograph Ball State's commencement like it was the Super Bowl. So I knew at that moment that she was going to be one of the greatest sports photojournalists in the world, no doubt. Our second Young Alumni Award goes to Jennifer Prendado. Jennifer has channeled her passion for storytelling into her career in journalism graphics and established herself as a distinguished designer, journalist, and leader. She has worked for some of the most renowned news outlets in the country and is dedicated to helping audiences engage with news in a more significant and powerful way. In her nearly 8 years at Time, Prendado worked on projects that covered topics ranging from heartwarming features to grim portraits of the devastation of war. As art director, she was also tasked with spearheading the creation of Time 100 at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prendado now serves as the art director for Today.com, where she oversees the digital visuals team and is leading a redesign of the brand's website and social media presence. As a Ball State University student, she contributed to the Chicago Tribune's coverage of both the 2012 Summer Olympics in London and the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi. She worked as a freelance designer and illustrator and earned numerous awards for her design work at the Ball State Daily News. Prendado's achievements highlight her creativity, but colleagues, family, and friends most appreciate her availability, genuineness, and kindness. In recognition of her award-winning work as an art director, the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication proudly presents Jennifer Prendado with the 2022 Young Alumni Award.
Hello, this is so nice. Thank you all so much and for letting me be here. I don't drive, so thank you, Olivia, for picking me up today in Indianapolis. Huge, very much appreciated. Before I came to Ball State, when I was a senior in high school, I told my parents, I want to go to this school. It's in Indiana. I had never been here, ever. None of us had. I grew up in Sandpoint, Idaho. It's a tiny little town at the top of Idaho. And my whole family came out here to check out I think that their thought was that they were gonna bring me out here, reel me back in, go somewhere on the West Coast. But we all got to Ball State and immediately fell in love with the campus. It is just, I immediately felt like home. My parents felt like home. It was where I knew I needed to be. And currently I am sitting with my old bosses. I used to work at journalism workshops, and my job there, part of the time, when I was not designing, was to go to conventions and talk about Ball State and how great it was and how much I loved it. And I have not stopped doing that at all. I mean, I graduated in 2014. I still do that every day. I owe my whole career to Ball State and the experiences that I had here. I did things before I was 21 here that people don't get those professional opportunities. And I am just so, so thankful for everyone here, for my professors, for everyone who helped me grow. And I still think of all the advice you've given me. And I'm so, so honored to be here. So thank you so much.
Now moving on to the Outstanding Journalism Alumni Award, which recognizes outstanding achievements in a communication-related career for individuals who majored or minored in a School of Journalism and Strategic Communication program or worked for student media or agencies before entering their career field. This year, the Journalism Alumni Society is proud to recognize 2 graduates with outstanding alumni awards. The first is Dina Hayworth. Dina Hayworth's innovation and expertise in communication and leadership has positively impacted her community and the clients at Hiron's advertising agency. For 22 years, Hayworth has thrived at the Indianapolis-based Hirons, working her way from public relations specialist to chief operating officer, offering her unique perspective along the way to help create initiatives like the Rural Reach program. As COO, Hayworth oversees every department and guides the agency's efforts in public relations and marketing at the local, regional, and national level. Hayworth has also fostered her passion for philanthropy throughout her career and was recognized as a 2018 Woman of Influence by the Indianapolis Business Journal. Today, she serves on 5 separate committee boards, including her work with Franklin College, Indianapolis Government and Community Projects, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Through her efforts, Hayworth gives back to the communities that influenced her throughout her growth as an individual and professional. Before earning a master's degree in public relations at Ball State University, Hayworth began her journey in the field of public relations with a bachelor's degree in journalism from Franklin College in 1999. Since then, she has remained tirelessly committed to inspiring change and improving herself and the world around her. For her continuous expressions of beneficence and devotion to exceptional communication and public relations practices, the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication proudly presents Dina Hayworth, the Outstanding Journalism Alumni Award.
I'm not going to do this off the cuff like Grace did. That was pretty impressive. And to Grace and Jennifer, I literally feel like I was just here doing what you just did, so time flies. I told Dan that I'm way too young for this award, but he said the awardees are getting younger every year, so I feel much better. I'm certainly grateful that more than 20 years ago now, Ball State took a chance on me. I was a first-generation college graduate from Franklin, which has 1,100 students, so it's tiny. I come traipsing up here and meet with Dan, and he's like the welcoming committee to Ball State, right? Hi, Dan. He knew I was going to give him a shout-out. And he made me feel so comfortable. He's like, look, you can come. You can be a graduate assistant. It's going to be wonderful. And I was like, okay. Why not? Because I have all this enthusiasm and self-confidence inside of me like Grace does. I realize, this is not on the org chart maybe, but he's Marilyn's like right-hand man. That's not the actual title, but it's what was happening, right? So I get to see this amazing female leadership in the department, and I always take a minute and thank women like Marilyn for going out and doing things that made everything easier for me as I'm trying to still fight the fight for women, right? It's crazy, it's still happening. So thanks to all of you through the assistantship, I was able to plan the Schron's lecture, which is awesome. I know we have some students working on that right now, so that was really wonderful. When I came to Hiron's, right after Ball State, I was welcomed again by Muncie and Ball State people. So Tom Hirons, who is our founder, grew up in Muncie, will always have Muncie in his heart. Jim Parham, who some of you may know, is our CEO and has been my boss for 22 years. if anyone wants to talk about having the same boss for 22 years, we can do that. But that Ball State passion for continuing education really came through to them. If people ask me what the biggest risk I've taken in my career is, it's that I stayed, right? People talk all the time about no loyalty in young people, so I'm encouraging you that if you're happy where you are, you should totally stay. I have one regret from my time at Ball State, which is that we were in West Quad. I got my people with me here that were in West Quad too. So you guys, we didn't have any windows in the classroom. So think of being trapped for like 3 hours on a night with Popovich. Like it was insane. Like there were no windows. Okay, not even to mention no restaurants or whatever else was awful there. So in my time at Hirons, I've come across so many wonderful Ball State alums. We use you as our feeder system, so thank you for having such great student-run media and student-run agencies here. My friend Leanne is with me. She's my right-hand person, so I found myself a Dan. It's all going very well. And so I'm grateful to her and all the other alumni who are here. Brian Hayes invited me to come to J-Day. Do y'all know J-Day? So I didn't know anything when I was starting out in my college search, and so my time in high school journalism. How many high school newspaper people do I have out there? All right. See, I didn't even know about this business, so thanks again to Marilyn for her work in advocating for student journalism in high schools. So I spoke to all these students, and they were excited and so very young. And I thought, okay, we're gonna keep this profession going. We're gonna keep scholarly work focused in public relations, which is really important to me. So thank all of you, and this is fun to be back on campus. Oh, and Dean Turner gave me this pin. So ladies, try to get yourself one of these pins.
The second Outstanding Alumni Award goes to Stephen Beard. Stephen Beard, a two-time Pulitzer Prize-winning multimedia journalist, possesses an uncommon ability to clarify topics wrought with confusion, misconception, and misplaced indifference, and illuminate their relevance to individual lives. Beard has exercised expertise in storytelling, shaped by his creativity, adaptability, and lifelong quest to make significant contributions to visual journalism. Throughout his career, Beard has earned 15 awards for excellence in his use of graphics and innovative storytelling techniques, including 2 Pulitzer Prizes for his work at the Indianapolis Star. He expertly employs a range of tools from traditional narrative writing to 3D illustration, motion graphics, and drone footage in his journalistic storytelling to transform complex concepts into engaging pieces that deepen audience understandings and allow them to weigh risk and seek out change. Beard continues to leave his mark on the field of journalism in his work for USA Today as he contributes to a rich 40-year history of pioneering efforts in graphic journalism. And through it all, he relies on the strong foundation built with the help of accomplished mentors and invaluable experiences, including those from his time at Ball State University, where he earned his bachelor's degree in 1997. At the Ball State Daily News, Beard discovered a love for print journalism and cultivated a family of lifelong friends. For his exceptional skills and ingenuity in visual journalism, the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication proudly presents the Outstanding Journalism Alumni Award to Stephen Beard.
I'm with Deanna. I need notes as well. But I want to thank you. Thanks to the Society for this honor, Dr. Sparks, the faculty. This is just Anytime I come here, Maryland, I see familiar faces, and it's just like being back among friends. So, I grew up in the shadow of campus here in Muncie, raised by my parents, Dan and Carolyn. They're also Ball State alums, and I met my wife here, Susie. She's here. She graduated in '97 with me. I will always be thankful for my time at Ball State and to the late Dr. Earl Kahn, who, after an intro to mass communications class my freshman year, told me to walk into the Daily News offices in West Quad, roll up my sleeve, and ask how they can put me to work. I'm especially delighted to see the great David Knott here. He was my advisor at the Daily News. And he was very patient, so thank you, David. Another fascinating touchstone for me and my connection to Ball State is in 1997, Al Newharth, the founder of USA Today, was on hand to dedicate the CCIM, and I got to meet with him, not knowing that 25 years later I'd be working for that graphics team and all the things they've done to pioneer graphics journalism. There's a long list of people who've made some kind of impact on me during my time here: instructors, advisors, classmates, many of whom I still keep in touch with, and my colleagues at the Daily News. I've had the privilege to work for 4 past Majeri Award winners, including last year's recipient, Javier Zaracena. He's my editor at USA Today. And I'm the sum of all these parts. Isaac Newton standing on the shoulders of giants. I'm here today. I'm doing what I love because of all these people and the start I got at Ball State. I was privileged also, I should give a shout out, I was privileged to attend classes here with several alums who have gone on to teach the next generation of journalists at the high school and collegiate levels, including Jennifer and Tom and Brian. So thank you for the important work you're doing in bringing up the next generation of journalists. Thanks again to Ball State School of Journalism and Strategic Communication for this distinct honor, and keep doing the good work you're doing.
At this time, Tom Gaeta, past president of the Journalism Alumni Society, will join me at the podium to induct 2 outstanding alumni into the Journalism Hall of Fame. Just a note, after the citation is read in its entirety, I will present the Hall of Fame plaque.
The Hall of Fame Award recognizes a lifetime of exemplary work and commitment to a communications-related field by individuals who majored or minored in a School of Journalism and Strategic Communications program, worked for a SJSC student media organization or agency, taught in the school, or contributed to the curricular development and instruction of the program in a substantial manner. Other than professors and friends who have made extraordinary contributions to the academic excellence of the SJSC, that takes a while to get used to, programs, nominees must have graduated at least 10 years before the date of their induction. On behalf of the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communications and Alumni Society, I am pleased to induct Lisa Richardson into Ball State's Journalism Hall of Fame. Lisa Richardson, a member of the Indiana Journalism Hall of Fame and executive editor of the State Journal Register in Springfield, Illinois, has modeled efficient strategic leadership to maximize resources and execute award-winning multi-platform coverage that engages and grows journalism audiences. Richardson's leadership has propelled her teams to top honors from the Associated Press, Gannett, and the Hoosier State Press Association. She has empowered diversity as a leader in National Association of Black Journalists, as president of the Indianapolis Association of Black Journalists, and as president and a founding member of the NABJ Cincinnati chapter. Richardson has worked as a reporter, editor, and publisher at newspapers in Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, and at USA Today in Northern Virginia. As a student at Ball State University, Richardson's biggest influence was her family. She said, "I needed to do my best for my 2 sons who were toddlers at the time. Making sure I was prepared myself for a career that would allow me to open doors for them was my greatest motivation." Writers and reporters who work with Richardson will remember her as someone who nurtures and inspires journalists to be the best version of themselves by asking questions and challenging the status quo. For her continuing pioneering leadership in multi-platform storytelling, diversity, and inclusion in journalism, the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication inducts Lisa Richardson into the Journalism Hall of Fame.
Wow. I imagined what this moment would be like, and let me just tell you, it is 1,000 times better than I ever imagined. But what an honor it is to stand before you and accept this induction. Congratulations to all of folks who have won awards today. Inspiring, great work that you're doing. But as I said, this is so much more than I ever expected when I was on this campus. I was on the fringes, if you might say, as pointed out in the induction. I was a single parent raising 2 sons, trying to be educated, and it was a challenge. But this was where the seed was planted for me to be a journalist. While my colleagues at here on campus and in my first job in Anderson had lofty goals of working in bigger markets and doing great things, my goal, as it was pointed out, was simple. I just need to take care of 2 kids. But journalism has afforded me so much more than that. I have rubbed elbows with some of the most powerful people in the world. I've met ordinary people who have allowed me or my team to tell extraordinary stories. And I've been able to challenge communities to live up to our nation's promise of fairness and equality for all. There's absolutely no way I would have had those experiences if not committing to journalism right here on this campus. So my thoughts today are full of all the people who made it possible for me to be here. Friends, some who are here, family, colleagues, many who are in this room, bosses, mentors, neighbors. So many people have moved me forward, shown me the way, inspired me, encouraged and cheered for me. I owe them a debt of gratitude. Of course, you know, in this business, we all work hard. You can't be in this business if you don't work hard. You can't be in this business if you don't work hard, if there are students in the room. But we don't get anywhere without the help of others. For me, that help came from people like Dr. Beverly Pitts. Before she was provost here, and before she was a university president, she was my high school journalism teacher in Anderson, Indiana. And she planted the seed. I asked her once if she was surprised that of all of her students, I was the one who became a journalist. And she said, not at all, because I was everywhere, knew everybody and everything. Basically, I had a curiosity that I won't call nosy. But she saw that ability in me that I didn't see in myself. So educators, I'm speaking to you directly. You're important in the lives of your students. You can change the course of their lives. If you don't believe me, look at me. I am a living example. So, of course, I want to acknowledge my company that gave me opportunities when others would not, for being a place where I could grow and work alongside amazing people. People like Lisa Renzi Rhodes, who you guys have on this campus today, and Stephen Beard, who you've already heard about, and Bob, I didn't realize that you were here, that he's here, and Julie Metzger, and who else is out there? And Marilyn. Marilyn, we didn't work in a newsroom together, but we certainly worked on projects together, and so I've had all this opportunity to meet and grow with all these people, all because I chose journalism right here. So I'm blessed. And then the experience with Lisa last night. I was in the Unified Media Lab last night with Lisa and the students working on Deadline, trying to get that print edition out. And it was invigorating, and also shows me that our future is in great hands with the students who are coming up to replace us. I also have to acknowledge Lisa Green. Lisa Green is the managing editor in Fort Wayne, but before she was that, I was her mentor in Danville, Illinois, when she was in high school. So it's important that as we are making our way through our careers, that we give back and we bring up that next generation. But all of this, again, is possible because of other people and groups and organizations that help us along the way. So my gratitude extends to the Maynard Institute for Journalism Education and the National Association of Black Journalists. Through both, I sharpened my journalism, I sharpened my leadership skills. I found my voice to speak truth to power about diversity and inclusion. I'm indebted to both of those organizations, and so is our industry. They've made us better. So I'm gonna end here, really, Johnny. Holding the powerful accountable and shining a light and telling the untold stories, I believe, makes journalism, what we do, a noble profession, noble work. No matter that noise out there that we've heard, in recent years that suggests otherwise. I am forever proud to call myself journalist. I am also proud that my journey started here at Ball State. So thank you to the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication and everyone else who made this award possible, this induction possible. I am humbled by the recognition of my small contribution. Thank you.
On behalf of the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication and Alumni Society, I am pleased to induct Don Yeager into Ball State's Journalism Hall of Fame. Don Yeager personifies the 16 characteristics of greatness, which he formulated based on more than 30 years studying the greatest winners in sports. Among those characteristics, Yeager showcases his understanding of the value of association. His unshakable commitment to sharing inspiring stories of greatness has opened doors for his association with iconic sports leaders. Yeager's contagious enthusiasm for sharing those stories has transformed his associations into lasting friendships. Yeager's conversations with his friends, history's most legendary sports leaders, have fueled his rich stories of greatness and propelled him into international thought leadership status. Yeager's 35 books, which I haven't read 35 books in my entire life, include 11 New York Times bestsellers featuring long-form investigative journalism and inspirational stories written while rubbing elbows with the giants of our generation, including John Wooden and Walter Payton. Yeager took lessons learned at the foot of such greatness standard bearers to his work as an executive coach, and today guides leaders, teams, and businesses to their highest successes. As an internationally recognized keynote speaker, Yeager's clients have ranged from Fortune 500 companies to cancer survivor groups. His reputation as a prodigious storyteller has landed Yeager on major talk shows such as Oprah, Nightline, CNN, and Good Morning America, and led to his hosting the highly acclaimed Corporate Competitor podcast. When no one is watching, another of Yeager's 16 characteristics of greatness, Yeager loves and cares for family, including his wife and 2 children, and friends. Professionally and personally, he tirelessly devotes himself to encouraging, supporting, and inspiring others. After graduating from Ball State University in 1984, Yeager worked as a reporter and investigative journalist in Texas and Florida before serving as associate editor of Sports Illustrated. For modeling and chronicling the characteristics of greatness, the Ball State University School of Journalism and Strategic Communication inducts Don Yeager into the Journalism Hall of Fame.
Wow. As was noted, 35 books. And I hope that over the course of time you'll read 35 books. It'd be good. My children need you to buy more books. Over the course of writing all those books, many of them working with people that we would all define as exceptional. One of the things that really became clear over time was that in the telling of most people's life stories, you can generally identify between 5 and 7 pivot points, like places where they make a decision to go left, things end up in one direction, a choice to go right would have taken them someplace completely different. But those 5 to 7 pivot points are the place we always try to look as we're trying to tell someone's story. And without question, if I were to ever sit and write my story, which I hope I never do, I would pick as one of those, probably the most important of those early pivot points in my life, the decision when I was a freshman here to walk through that swinging door at West Quad, the aforementioned building of boredom, that led me into the Daily News newsroom. On the other side of that swinging door was David Knott, who became an incredible influence in my life, and many other amazing student journalists who taught me so many great things, and some great teachers, Dr. Popovich, Dr. Weaver, that you guys are here is really impactful and meaningful as well. And, and without all of that, I don't think it changed the direction of my life, that decision to go through that swinging door, and realize that on one side I was a student, on the other side I was a journalist. I was learning what it meant to be a journalist, and we were going to be treated as such, held to that standard, and I loved that. It led to a career I couldn't have imagined, even if you had given me the greatest blank slate and asked me while I was here what it might become. And it allowed me today to be able to celebrate it with 3 of the most important people I'll ever have in my life, my wife, my 2 children who came up from Florida with me to celebrate today. So, some of you might know that when I was here, I was involved in a few controversial stories that were written by the student newspaper, the Daily News. And as a result of one of those stories, there was actually a senior leader of the university administration who made a statement that the university would be better off without me, right? That I would be the kind of person that if they were to have me not at Ball State, it would be a better place. And in the immediate aftermath of that, which was a little controversial, the journalism faculty, led by Marilyn and David and Mark, actually penned a letter to that member of the administration that ran in the student newspaper, defending the work and actually suggesting that what student journalism really needed to be was exactly what we were doing at that time. And you know, I'd forgotten about that, but a few years ago, my mother passed away, and when she did, she left a box for me that was filled with a lot of letters that she had written me and my father and all these people. But at the very top of that box was a letter that she had written to the faculty at Ball State, thanking them for defending me when times were tough. And so I think about that, and I think about, you know, when you come to a place and you want to grow and you want to be in the presence of people that will not just encourage you, but defend you and be there for you. And this was that place, and making my way through that swinging door was that choice. I thank you very much for the honor today, and I look forward to continuing to grow and help the department as any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Now I'd like to invite one of our students, current student and soon-to-be alum, Cami Guerin, to share her Ball State story with you.
Is this okay? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cami Guerin, and I'm a lot of things. I'm a senior, projected to be summa cum laude of my class. I'm a double major in journalism and studio art with a concentration in mass communications. I am our art director of our campus magazine, Ball Bearings, the vice president of recruitment and marketing for my sorority, a creative assistant at the McKinley Avenue Agency, a published children's book illustrator, but most importantly, a journalism ambassador. I'm here today to show you the amazing experiences, not just that I've had at the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication, but all of our students get. My Ball State journey started in the fall of 2018. Kind of ages me a little bit, but it's okay. I came to visit campus on a chilly October. It was a quiet Friday morning, and my dad and I walked into the art and journalism building, and it has a lot of windows. It's very pretty. We made our way to the third floor, and we got to meet one of the sweetest people I've ever met, who sadly couldn't be here today, Kim Green. Kim gave us a tour of the then department, telling me about the amazing opportunities and students she had. And I don't know if any of you have met Kim, but she remembers every single student she's ever had. I don't know how she knew, but she could tell that I was missing someone that day. My mom was in rejection from a double lung transplant that she had received 11 years ago. This was an unspeakable struggle for my family because she was our rock, and having to plan the next parts of my life without her was a really big battle for us. Kim asked me about home, about my family, what I wanted to do, and next thing I knew, I was hugging a complete stranger. I've never hugged anyone as tight, and I knew that I had made one of the best connections I ever could. Kim was no longer a stranger to me and was the bridge from my life in high school to college. She was one of the many, many connections that I've made here at Ball State and that I can't trade for anything in the world. Next on that list of many thanks is my first ever professor, Kate Elliott. She is now one of my closest colleagues. She had me sit in on one of her Journalism 101 classes, which is a room of college kids as a high schooler, which is terrifying. But they were all sitting there, sipping their coffee and actively participating at an 8 a.m., which is really shocking. They had me jump in with them, and we were all over the whiteboards writing about new article ideas for Kate's next assignment. I knew that I had found my next place to call home. So, of course, I jumped at the opportunity to do our Early Start program, where I got to meet Dan Wechter and Brian Hayes. I guess I left a good impression because they offered me a job. I had to chase them down at Super Party and tell them I didn't want pizza, I wanted the job. And a short time later, I found myself at the front desk of the journalism department, which I've now been for 4 years. I did cry in my interview with Arlene, but it wasn't because it was sad. It's because I finally found my next family. Arlene, Brian, Dan, Johnny, thank you. Of course, I also have to give a shout out to Becca Forder, who spoke last year, who was one of the most influential people in my college career. It's hard to believe that it's been 4 years. It's flown by, no pun intended. I tried to recount all the amazing people who have helped me, but that list would keep us here for another hour. I cannot say thank you enough for the experiences, opportunities, scholarships, awards, and encouragement. I'm able to stand here before you without college debt, with a mom who will watch me graduate, and with a family that has always been there for me. To say that I love this school would be an understatement. I mean, I am gonna go to graduate school here for emerging media design and development, so I clearly don't wanna leave. Here at the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication, we treat all our students and faculty like family. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I see it every day when I have prospective students that walk nervously with me and their families for their next big decision. It's an honor to see this legacy continue as we award all of our guests here and as we inspire the next generation. One day I hope to have a seat at the tables with you all, recalling how way back when I was standing up here. And I want to be able to uplift our future Cardinals and future journalists. Thank you all for being here with us, for doing the amazing work that you do, because better stories are told by the better lives each of you live. Thank you.
So we're reaching the end of our event today. I'm sorry. We really are a great community, and this event marks a reunion of our community. Our students, faculty, staff, alumni, partners, and friends live our mission of empowering journalism and strategic communication for the greater good of our world. Today, we've celebrated the proud legacy of excellence and beneficence among our alumni, Richardson, Yeager, Beard, Hayworth. We anticipate continued achievement and emergence of our young alumni, Hollers, Prendado. Meanwhile, our student, Cami Guerin, inspires hope in the longevity of our mission. In supporting roles, our faculty, administration, and staff from Englehart to today have inspired and equipped our students for success. There's one thing I want to mention that has been a great engine for equipping our students for success for 100 years now, our daily news. This year, the Daily News celebrated 100 years. So let's have a round of applause for Lisa, David, everyone who has contributed to the Daily News. A 100 years. So for me, this is my 7th of these reunions that I've had the opportunity to participate in. And I know that many of us right now have other things on our schedule, and just like so many other occasions in life, we might find ourselves, thinking about the past, because we've talked a lot about the past today, looking ahead to the future. But with each passing year, the tradition of this event and the people it brings together means more and more to me. And I can relate more and more with Marilyn. So I hope that today all of you will just take a moment to look around at the people in this room, this community of support that we have. I'm so grateful to serve as the director of your school. Today is especially emotional for me as it marks the end of an era, and it's a moment to cherish. And I'm not going to cry because leaders shouldn't cry in front of people. Just kidding. I personally treasure every moment that I've had to work alongside my friend, colleague, and mentor, Mr. Dan Wechter. During the past 7 years, in December of this, Dan's 35th year, he will retire from the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication. Wechter retires as Maryland's right-hand man, Associate Director and Senior Lecturer in the School of Journalism and Strategic Communication, and Assistant Dean for Curriculum in the College of Communication, Information, and Media. Before launching his professional career with the unit in 1998, Wechter served for 4 years as a student worker while earning his BS degree in journalism. Wechter also earned his MA in Public Relations from the department. Thousands of students, including today's awardees, relied on Wechter for academic advising. In uncountable one-on-one meetings, he welcomed a steady flow of students and partnered with them to overcome infinite, unique challenges to promote their greatest success. Wechter has worked tirelessly behind the scenes in the department, school, college, and university. Through university processes and diplomatic negotiations with other faculty and administrators, Wechter solved the big picture challenges for the university. His tireless dedication to the university service naturally presented a lot of leadership opportunities, and he twice served stints as interim chair during times of transition and led the department through reaccreditation. Wechter's distinguished service at BSU has been recognized with every award he can win. I believe he's won all of them that he can win for now. Today, I can simply offer my deepest and most sincere gratitude on behalf of the countless students and stakeholders to Dan for his commitment to excellence every day and his limitless self-sacrifice for the good of the department, school, college, and Ball State University. Dan, please stand. And I would like to ask all of you to join me in giving Dan a round of applause. Do you want the podium, Dan? Would you like to? Okay. So Dan, our awardees, and to you, our guest, you embody the mission, but even more than the mission, you embody the virtues of this school. Thank you so much for all of your generous support throughout the years. And thank you so much for joining us for today's celebration. This concludes our program. I hope you have a great afternoon.